Alright, here we are at Antietam. After defeating the Federal drive on Richmond and winning it, pushing the Federals back at Manassas, Lee has continued to be a thorn in the Federal side. Now they face each other across Antietam Creek, both hoping to finish the war here and now. It's going to be a bare-knuckle, back-alley brawl. Now the Southern line of communication is here and here, so the Union wants to cut those off and destroy the army, Lee's army. Now some of them can start up here across Antietam Creek, but then they have to fight all the way down. To simply cross here and cut the army off would seem to be the way to go, except it involves getting across the Antietam. Historically, McClellan had divided his army up all along the line and fought a little bit here, fought a little bit here, fought a little bit here, and in the end, by not following through at any one point, Lee was able to hold out and retreat that night. Over several replays, I found it's usually best to be strong up here and just defeat Lee's army on the way down. But today I'm going to try a different strategy. I'm going to try a hard push in the south for the quick victory, the cutting off the Southern army right away. Turn 3, Franklin's Corps comes on. Turn 5, A.P. Hill's division comes on. It's elite, it's powerful. Today I have Jackson's Corps to the south of Sharpsburg and Longstreet's Corps to the north. Got some Union cavalry here, a few Union detachments here, and the bulk of the army right down here. Let's see how this plays out. Fitz-John Porter starts with his wide flanking maneuver. Hancock's Corps moves forward to secure the hills for the Union artillery. Here Union artillery fires on Southern troops across Antietam Creek. To no effect. Next, artillery continues firing across the Southern Bridge, doing some damage to the Southern artillery battery. Mansfield's 12th Corps leaps across the Southern Ford. Now the artillery has been ineffective, but they don't know that. They know the artillery just opened up and let's go support. Longstreet's Corps has been drawn. 1st Corps, nothing has changed here. They're just holding their position. Burnside's 9th Corps attacks across the bridge that will someday bear his name. Jackson flanks the attack. This is not going to go good for the Federals. Hooker's Corps crosses the middle bridge. Stuart sends some cavalry to the hill here to watch over the battle, and sends Hampton's cavalry north to watch that flank. The Union dresses their line. Here we have dice keeping track of turns. That was turn 1, movement. Turn 1, combat. It's all on Jackson's Corps here. Start with Mansfield's assault across the Antietam. Hard fighting, Mansfield is driven back, but Jackson no longer controls the crossing. Burnside coming across the middle bridge. Jackson pulls his cavalry back, and the lead Federal green troops fall out of the attack. Jackson has lost control of the ford and the hill here, or the bridge and the hill here, but Burnside has lost an entire division, in addition to the conscripts running off. Well, turn 2 will be very interesting. General Fitzhugh Lee's cavalry division secures the bridge. But unfortunately, all they're going to be able to do is delay the crossing at best. But this buys some time. Sumner lines his corps up to cross the bridge. Mansfield's corps falls behind the artillery. He sends word to McClellan that he needs bags to unpack and support his troops. Pleasanton's cavalry continues its wary watch over here. McClellan gets word, sends Begg forward and unpacks them. Burnside runs forward, organizes the green troops, has them fall back to recover, sends his other 2 divisions forward, chase off the Southern cavalry at the bridge. Now it's Jackson, and Jackson's in a tough spot. The whole Union army seems to be coming down upon him, and he's already got 2 units spent, and his artillery is out of action. He decides to unpack bags. D.H. Hill, the artillery, and Ewell's division all recover. He's back up to full strength. But how is he going to come up with the new threat coming across the middle bridge? He pulls his division back. Next, Longstreet is drawn. The nice thing about the Southern Army is they're much more experienced, able to defend themselves and respond to things. This is a problem, this Union crossing. The artillery on the hill opens up. But like Southern artillery often does, fires over their heads with little effect. Walker's division surges forward, followed by Hood's Texans. Longstreet warily expects some sort of action from the... He has no idea what all the North exactly has here. Now Hooker is drawn last, which on the attack you've got all the advantage for, but he's being attacked. And drawing last means his options are somewhat limited. He can save for the fight, he can retreat back, he can't go here or here because he has to retreat a third away first. He has to get disengaged from them first. He's going to stay and fight it out. Although this is risky because if they fall back they're going to get tangled up in Hancock's corps. Excuse me, 2nd Corps is not Hancock's but Sumner's at Antietam. It's going to get tangled up in Sumner's corps. Like he fears, Doubleday's division is driven back. No, they're lucky. They get right up against, but don't push back. But either Meade goes rolling back and they do push them all back, or he stays and fights. They did suffer, it was not without cost. He will stay and fight. They did not come to dance, they're here to fight. Meade's division slams into Walker. Walker falls back. This is just a detachment, so they don't become spent. Hood moves forward. Meade takes 2 casualties, 2 hits. As I feared, Sumner's corps gets pushed back. That was the action in the center. In the southern bridge, you have the cavalry. They could ride off, but they're going to stay for a little. They're going to get a little fight going. They drive off the forward elements of the corps as they cross, and then they ride off into the sunset. Turn 3. Oh, we forgot one. My bad. John Porter's 5th Corps is moving forward and bringing up the artillery. That is critical. Turn 3, Franklin's 6th Corps will come on this turn. Stuart's cavalry falls back and is joined by Stuart himself. McClellan has desperately sent word to Pleasanton to move forward and begin demonstrating, which he does. He doesn't want to get too close and demonstrate the fact that they've got nothing north, but he gets to there. Hooker's corps moves down within range of the baggage train. He still has 1 division of good troops, but if they were to cross now, that would be premature because he's got nothing to support them with. On second thought, he does. He will race them forward. He will attack Doubleday's spent division. Put Meade within range of the unpacked bags. This is Hooker. Hooker's a good man. He'll figure that out. Smith comes on. McClellan orders him to go north, put some teeth in the right flank. He swings around to the right flank. Franklin and Pleasanton confer. John Porter sends some troops across the Antietam. In fact, he sends his whole corps. Union artillery. The bags move forward a little bit. This artillery sets up on the hill. This artillery is blocked. You can see nothing. And this artillery opens up on the troops here. The detachment defending the lower fords clears out. Mansfield's 12th Corps recovers. And Jackson becomes active. D.H. Hill and the artillery cover the lower fords. Ewell's division takes place in the center. Burnside's 9th Corps. Burnside, full of fire, attacks with fresh and spent troops. Green troops recover as directed. Sumner's troops also go by the baggage train, pick up some supplies, recover a bit. And he has Sedgwick's division just upstream of the middle bridge. Longstreet has Hood's troops fall back from this combat, and the artillery opens up. Fresh Union troops are driven off. That was the wise thing to do. Just so it's clear, that's where the artillery was. They fired there, they drove Ricketts back. Burnside attacking across the hill. Ewell's troops stop the advance, fall back. They'll recover next turn. Turn 4. John Porter has been drawn. John Porter attacks like this, supporting Burnside, and that's where they contact. Now this is where you could write a lot of rules to figure out exactly how to do this. But in this situation, what would happen? They would attack, most of their attack, they're not crossing the river, most of their attack cover would fall on the front. And so the battle would end up looking like that, or even like that, but not across the river. This is where great thing about pub battles is you can say, what would happen here? Not really a flank attack. They were kind of refusing that flank, ready for this, something like this. After all, these guys were sitting here and they knew it. And all it's important to note here is it's front on front. No one has an advantage in that sense. And there's going to be combat there. Now, Lee hasn't moved yet. Lee can refuse that combat and leave. But he's unpacked his bags right here. Does he want to do that? Well, I've just drawn Lee. Let's ask him and see. You know what? He's got his artillery there. They fire first before the Union can respond. This looks pretty good. He'll stay. Ewell recovers. Jackson renews his attack on Burnside's flank and sends in a detachment to occupy his front. He moves the detachment to the top of the hill here, to the Reverend Adams' place. Pleasanton's cavalry holds. Franklin's corps moves up and deploys right behind the cavalry. It's a smaller division and it has it's about half green troops. Not a great threat. Sumner, both of Sumner's divisions, French's and Richardson's, recover. Beggs, Sedgwick crosses and supports Doubleday. Ordinarily, I don't allow a lot of inter-corps communication between the Union Army because the Union just wasn't that competent. But 1st and 2nd Corps are their best corps and their HQs are adjacent. So I said, you know what, these two guys can work together a little bit. So Sedgwick, part of 2nd Corps, supports Doubleday, part of 1st Corps. Mansfield crosses. Union artillery and baggage. Well, first of all, the artillery reserve here is going to open up on those troops on the hill. Don't know what they are, but let's find out. And they just get pushed off. Those are just a few detachments, some small detachment, nothing to be afraid of, nothing to be worried about. Now, because of the woods here, at the same level as the hill here, all this artillery can see is all the way across up to the hill here, and they're going to fire at them. With no effect. Well, one pushes back. It was just a detachment. It falls back. Cavalry. Stewart's cavalry recovers. Hampton's cavalry over here watches warily. 1st Corps. Meade's division recovers. Rick's division will recover next turn. Longstreet. Reserve artillery opens up. And Union troops. Doubleday is sent back. Hood and Walker explode forward to take care of the rest of the Union crossing at the middle bridge. Claw's division supports. Jones' division to the east woods. Anderson's reinforced division holds the extreme southern left. Finally, the lead elements of Burnside's 9th Corps fall back across the river looking for the bags. Brings a fresh division forward to hold the bridge. One more battle here. Can Fitz-John Porter break the stalemate? As the artillery firing first drove back his best troops, they're going to hold. The battle continues. The troops that stayed were destroyed, although the artillery is worse for the wear. Turn 5. Now it gets tense. Franklin's 6th Corps was sent wide, but they'd really rather have them down here. Too late now. Versus 12th Corps, and that's not actually ideal. I'd rather have 12th Corps move after Jackson. This is double blind solo. I can't play one. If this were a regular game between with another player, I would roll to try to alter turn order and have Mansfield delay, but I can't do that in double blind. I don't do that double blind because I know exactly what each side has and what their plans are and stuff, and allowing to alter turn order would be a little too much, so it's a little out of my control. So instead, Mansfield's going to follow the same attack that Fitz-John Porter tried. Oh, I forgot Longstreet's drive here in the center from last turn. I should have marked it. Heroically, against all odds, in other words, I rolled all misses 2 turns in a row for the South, for Hood's elite corps. Hooker's corps, with a lot of green troops, pushes back Hood's elite. I think there's a little wear and tear going in on the Southern Army. Now, back to turn 5. Just drawn Hood's corps. What are they going to do? Claus is going to occupy the sunken road. Hood's going to move back within range of the unpacked bags. Walker's going to hide right there. Since it looks like the North is doing something here, Jones doesn't want to have his men exposed, so he falls back to the westwood. Flushed with success, Sedgwick's division drives into Walker's spent division. This is a harsh trap here. Any attack across the southern bridge will be caught in an outflanked position. We'll turn 2nd Corps and get ready to cross. Stewart's cavalry still holds. Union artillery can see Hood's Texans. So the Union artillery fires. Artillery in position gets a flank attack on this unit. And they're spent. Franklin's corps attacks. Maybe this with a success there. Not ideal, but if it's successful there, this will cause a big headache for Lee. Fitz-John Porter comes racing across. Well, they could not have raced across and ignored this unit. They have to attack like that. Pleasanton's cavalry. They're going to make this northern attack work. What can Hooker do? Doubleday can go across and support that attack. Meade can get ready to attack again? Don't think he could. He could make it to within a third of this unit, which puts them, they begin exchanging shots and fire. They're contacted, so he moves in for that combat. Again, I'm only allowing this kind of coordination because these two HQs are together and because they are two of the best HQs the Union Army has. Alright, Jackson, what are you going to do? Definitely going to keep that going. But the division is going to recover. It's not in Sharpsburg. Over half is outside of Sharpsburg, so they can recover to full. Fresh. Ewell advances forward. Burnside's troops recover. That's what he does. There's all the movement for turn 5. Oh, turn 5, by the way. AP Hill came on this far. Now the Union's in trouble. It's another elite unit. 5 different combats. Start up here in the north. Detachment falls back. In the extreme north, the south collapses with heavy losses. To the Union left of the fight, the Union Dragoons simply fall back. In the center, Walker pushes back Cedric's excited troops, but there's nothing left. And Doubleday's troops hold the position. We're here, Meade and McLaws. They fight desperately just west of the sunken road, but no one's in control of that area either. In the center, Fitzjohn Porter's bold drive succeeds in getting rid of the detachment, but they are eliminated in the process. And Snidely's Ford. Although they didn't attack across the ford, they attacked north of Antietam Creek there. Artillery opens up in the lead elements and they're driven off with very heavy losses. The north's attack fails. Here the south have 2 losses that don't count towards victory. It's an artillery and a detachment, and they have 2 divisions that do count. North has lost 5 divisions. I'm inclined at this point to declare a southern victory, but I'm going to fight on because there's been a breakthrough in the north, and I don't think the south would have given, or the Northern Army, McClellan would not have given up at this point. Moving on to turn 6. Alright, Longstreet's Corps. He cautiously brings his line back, redraws it on more defensible areas. Pleasanton and Franklin move ahead of the Poffenberger farm and reevaluate their situation. Division recovers. The northern line begins moving forward, though frustratingly for the south, they're not attacking. The south doesn't know there's really nothing there to attack with. They've got some detachments. All that's left of Franklin's corps is half of it. And you have Union cavalry, which are no match for the Southern cavalry, which is what's over there. Sumner tells his men to get back in there. They finally get that flank attack on Jackson's unit. The rest of his corps barrels forward. Maybe this is where it will all happen. Fitzjohn Porter laments that his entire corps is exhausted and destroyed and no longer battle effective. Mansfield personally charges his troops, leads the charge up against the southern flank. G.H. Hill charges Williams' corps. This is Jackson's corps advancing now. Jackson's division falls back to the baggage train, back even to the side of the baggage train. A.P. Hill backs up D.H. Hill. Hooker recovers the division. Doubleday's troops contact Hood's division, supported by Meade's troops. Burnside is ready to come up the south. Union artillery fires D.H. Hill. That could be critical. Basically wrong foots the attack. Union artillery swings and fires at Confederate artillery, driving them back. Union bags unpack right behind the artillery. No, that won't help because they can't get across the Antietam. I'd like to bring those bags and unpack them here, but South can move forward and that would end the game right there. Not gonna do it. Wouldn't be prudent. And the cavalry, no call for the cavalry at this time. For Stuart's cavalry. Okay, we've got 3 battles here. Here, Williams' division was putting the pinch, outflanking the southern defenders. But they've now been attacked by D.H. Hill. So these are 2 separate combats and they don't affect the other. So first this one. Being attacked from the flank. They each do 1, which pushes Williams back to here. D.H. Hill comes back to here. Basically they break off, nothing happens there. Mansfield's standing up by himself going, dudes. Next battle, Sumner's Drive on the hill. Ewell's corps defending. Unions suffer heavy losses Ewell's Corps falls back to the bags. The Union has secured the bank west of the southern bridge. And Hood's Texans fighting just outside Sharpsburg. The spent Union initial attack. The spent Union troops just can't gain anything. The Hood is spent. The First Corps attack, Hooker's attack, is ultimately fails. They win there, they fail there, just can't hold it all together. The South will have to lose three units to break. If the North loses one more infantry unit, they break. This looks hard. It's going to require some hot dice. Turn 7. 9th Corps crosses Myers Ford below and contacts T.H. Hill. Now, he would have liked to have turned one unit to face A.P. Hill's corps, but he cannot. To make that turn would have cost him movement he didn't have. So that's how that looks. Mansfield's corps will attack. Pleasanton does not attack. It does move forward and extend the line to Antietam Creek. Hooker's division, Ricketts comes forward. Meade's spent division falls back. Actually, this is a problem with the Union artillery, which is attached as a separate command, the Artillery Reserve. As such, they are not able to coordinate easily with their corps, whereas the South is 2 corps and both corps have their own intrinsic artillery. North has more artillery, but far less chance to employ it effectively. Although they can and do fire on Longstreet's troops. Ineffectively, as it were, because it might be critical, the bags move up to the bridge. Now they're going to leave enough room before they unpack for a defending Union unit to be right there. Longstreet's corps. The baggage train's going to move up behind the artillery, supply it. It's another thing they can do because their bags are with their corps. They tend to be able to rally things right when they need them. Yes. And this, at this point, pretty much guarantees a Southern victory because there will be at least one more Federal loss. And the Feds really need to push their way up. Ewell is facing this way, of course. Try and maneuver Hood out of his position. If Jackson hasn't moved yet, that would be foolish. And as this is critical, Jackson moves last, which means he can turn and face them. In fact, he doesn't even need... Yeah, he does. Alright, here we go. Early evening. One more turn left. This is turn 7. The Federals lose one more unit, they lose the game. South can lose 3 units. In this first combat, both units are eliminated. A.P. Hill's elite men get eliminated, and Mansfield's last of his corps is destroyed. So even though they destroyed A.P. Hill's corps, they were destroyed. They've now lost 8 and lost the game. Unless something amazing happens, which isn't likely, because this next one is the Southern counterattack, which finds the Union outflanked. And it's desperate. D.H. Hill's division is lost. Wilcox's division is lost. Alright, even though there's really not a lot of advantage to it, the North is going to keep pushing. They've already lost, but if this can be destroyed, then the South will have lost 5 also, and they will have lost. And that's what happens. They take 2, they actually took 3, which is only going to be 1 because they were flanking, but that was spent, so it's lost. He was fresh and took 2 and was spent, outflanked, so that actually is 3, so he was lost. What do you do here? They both lost. Technically, the North Army had broke before the end of the turn. Before the end of the combat, the North Army would have started disintegrating and falling apart. In the middle of all these attacks, and they're saying, hey, we can win, we can win. All of a sudden, the commanders are charging, saying let's go forward, and the rest of the troops are fading off and running away. I would call this a very, very Pyrrhic Southern victory. Neither army is in any shape to pursue the other. 10 units to 5 units. Like has been said, this is a back alley, bare knuckle brawl. Good game. Here I am clearing up one little rules point. When you've lost 50% of your forces, that is determined at the end of the turn, not in the middle of the combat phase. Which I realized after I'd packed up the game and called it done. So the way that should have ended is essentially, well, not unlike it did, but it was a draw. At the end of the turn, both armies were broke. Probably would have been just like in history. Lee scampers off across and gets away, failing in his mission to bring the North to heels. But neither side can claim victory, which means both sides will. And as I edit these videos, I notice that I make mistakes all the time. Everyone does when they're playing a game. But if you think I've made a mistake and you're curious about, like, is that right? Did that happen here? Please mention it in the video, in the comments below, and I'll address it. I'll own up to mistakes I made, or perhaps something just wasn't clear in the video and I could explain what happened. Alright? It's alright. Have a great day. Thank you for watching, and please like and subscribe.